Happy Cinco de Mayo, guys. Hopefully enjoying your burritos and tacos and enchiladas and whatever else to go along with it. Margaritas and Mexican cervezas, beer, which I don't drink alcohol, but I understand the culture and the history of that. But really diving into the history beyond Cinco de Mayo, not many people know this, but conquistadors did leave descendants, and the most baddest of them all, well, they're really bad, like bad, or bad to the bone, would be Hernándo Cortés de Monroy, who was later granted the title the first Marquis of Wakana. He would marry Juana de Zuñíga or Juana Ramirez de Riano and would have numerous children with him and descendants in Italy, Mexico, United States, including Puerto Rico, as well as other parts of Central America would pursue, like Guatemala, maybe even Canada, I would say. Well, his legitimate descendant male line would die out really quickly by his great-grandson, and his great-granddaughter would marry into a dynasty. So how would I know about this? Why would I care about Hernándo Cortés de Monroy, the butcher of Mexico? They call him, La Mancha, who was the whore of Mexico, the Indian who gave the Aztec Empire to Spain. I'm not trying to be politically correct, but that's what they would say it in Mexico. I'm not going to say it here, but it is what it is in Spanish, but it's very highly known in Central America and in Spain. So why is that case? Why do I care about Hernándo Cortés de Monroy? Well, he happens to be my 14th great-grandfather. Hernándo Cortés de Monroy, first son, illegitimate son, was Martin Cortés with La Mancha, but he had another child before. He had a daughter named Catalina Pizarro, who he named after his own mother, would make Francisco Pizarro and Hernándo Cortés second cousins. Catalina Pizarro was the illegitimate or hija natural of Hernándo Cortés in Cuba, Santiago de Cuba, and Leonor Pizarro. Bernardo Diaz de Castillo states that Leonor Pizarro was a mestiza, but she looked more Castilian than anything else. Interesting enough, she herself was an illegitimate daughter to Francisco Pizarro. And how do I know that? Because Francisco Pizarro came with Friar Nicholas de Ovando in 1502 to the New World. He replaced Columbus as governor of the Indies, and that happened. That's after Bobadilla was killed. So, the state, I'm a descendant of Hernándo Cortés de Monroy. There's another document of another branch of my family, which is in Cuba, that states that Doña Francisco Cortés was from the same branch. Her daughter got married in 1666 in Cuba, and another daughter was mentioned in the purposes of being a descendant of Hernándo Cortés. So I would presume that's the legitimate branch. Hernándo Cortés married Juana de Zuñíga, Juana Ramirez de Riano, who was a daughter of a duke, or a count, and they had numerous children. Martin Cortés y Ramirez de Riano, or Zuñíga, married his cousin and had a daughter named Francisca, and I believe Francisca is the same one who made Jorge de Monzon, a son of a public scribe to the Audiencia of Santo Domingo. They're mentioned in a book in Potosi as mestizos, but as Doña Hidalgos. So, that's interesting. Just to let you guys know. So you have that. Yeah, so I descend from not just Cortés, but other conquistadors. Pizarro, Pedro de Alvarado. There's another document of my 8th great uncle, Friar Juan Lorenzo Sanchez de Matos y Colon. He states that he descends from Christopher Columbus, from his family, the descendants of the family of Christopher Columbus, their son Diego, as well as Adeltando Don Pedro de Alvarado, who was the Adeltando, I'm going to screw it up, Tanipico, which was in Honduras. Interesting to mention, Pedro de Alvarado had a child, several children, illegitimate, with Doña Lucia Consequental, who was the princess of a part of the allies that came with Cortés to conquer the Aztecs. Pedro de Alvarado would fall on a horse. His horse would fall on him and kill him, or he fell on the horse and killed him, leaving his illegitimate or natural daughter, a mestiza named Doña Leonor de Alvarado, a consequental, to be the heir to her father. Her brother, one was killed in sea, the other one was killed in South America, and the other one supposedly drowned in a river. So you have all of that. So Pedro de Alvarado's line would go. Oh, why is that so interesting? Because this is called history. Not many people is written that in books, and if it is, it's in Spanish. So yeah, I'm a descendant of the bad guy, Hernándo Cortés de Monterrey. So if you like that, whatever. If you don't, whatever. Yes, I have other roots in Mexico and New Spain. The last ancestor that left was Juan Perez, and another ancestor, I think his name was Pedro de Guzman. They were both professional soldiers that left the ship that shipwrecked off of Dry Tortugas in 1648. 200 of the 400 men, or half the men, survived the shipwreck. They lost all the cargo and all the military weapons. The men survived, got picked up by another ship, and they would be marrying women either from other countries or other parts of the New World or colonies of Spain, and local women from Puerto Rico. And I can trace at least 3 or 4 men, that came from the same ship. So that's interesting. You never know. Okay, well, good luck. Fun facts of Hernándo Cortés, Francisco Pizarro, and Pedro de Alvarado, that not many people know. All 3 men were together when they conquered the Aztecs, and 2 of them are second cousins. In fact, if you stated, Pizarro was the father-in-law of Cortés. So, and how do I know that? Like I said, the illegitimate daughter, Catalina Pizarro, would marry Captian Juan de Salcedo, who came from the Basque region of Spain. I have his passenger record, states his parents, and also Cortés's will, and he had grandchildren from his first child, or illegitimate daughter. They would marry very good. Their son, Pedro de Salcedo, not confused with Pedro's Journal, which is an incorrect book. It's basically a child's book of a make-believe teenager who was a cabin boy to Columbus. Pedro de Salcedo would marry very well. He would marry Doña Teresa López de Legpazi, the daughter of Adeltando Don Miguel López de Legpazi and Juana de Gracies. Don Miguel López de Legpazi was the Adeltando de las Filipinas. He conquered the Philippines in the 1670s and 1680s. Fun fact about him, cause of death, he had a stroke by arguing with somebody and scolding somebody. He would die later that evening. He is buried with his grandson and some of their great-grandchildren in the Cathedral of St. Augustine in Old Metro Manila. Actually, it is in the old part of Estumias, Manila, which is a Spanish fort that's there. The first house that was built by the Spaniards was bought by a billionaire Filipino that moved the rock structure into his own area. That home happens to be my 13 great-grandparents' homes. Juan Pacheco Maldonado and his second wife, Doña Teresa Salcedo de Legpazi. Interesting to mention, their daughter, Doña Ana de Salcedo, would take her mother's surname, and perhaps even the Mayorazgo, what I understand. She gave it to her cousin to marry Captain Don Pedro de Arroyo Daza, who was the son of Governor Don Diego de Arroyo Daza and Ana Molina de Molina. He was governor of a province in Venezuela. He would be my direct ancestor, meaning, guess what? Yeah, I'm a direct descendant of the royal family, which means the royal family would come in Puerto Rico in 1704 as a governor. Don Pedro de Arroyo and his Belgian wife, In Spanish, Ana Maria Van Balen or Anne Marie von Miller, who came from Brussels. I would descend from two of their grandsons, Pedro de Arroyo Almozo II and Laureano de Arroyo II. Both men would die brothers, or men would die days from each other when an epidemic happened in Santo Domingo. Perhaps it could have been leprosy. Yes, I would be a descendant, a direct descendant of both men, or a descendant of one man, a direct descendant of one man, and his other brother would be a descendant, if you want to be politically or, educationally correct. So that's the part that's very interesting. And do I feel bad? It's history, and there's nothing I can do. It is what it is. That's what happened when you have two countries and two cultures clashing with each other. You have Spaniards that are very superstitious and went through hell and back with the occupation of over almost 1,000 years by the Almohads and the Arabs' invasion of the Iberian Peninsula, and their faithful Catholicism and their faith into their Lord Jesus Christ, which I understand that being a Christian as well, but their scaredness of seeing hearts being ripped out is crazy, but also knowing that the Emperor Montezuma wasn't the best emperor. His own people shot at him. So knowing that, two wrongs don't make a right, but it's called history, and I love history. And history makes the world go around. Well, if you don't like history, but you like to go and see the statues, the fortresses in the New World or in Asia, walk the Wall of China whenever you can, or just go places in Europe like the Louvre in Paris or the Tower of London. It's history. It happens. There's nothing you can do about it. I think this cancel culture is somewhat interesting, but they forget too that their ancestors were part of it as well, so cancel themselves out as well. I believe that everyone has a right to have their own history. Of course, everyone has a family history as well, but don't repeat history, okay? So that's how I view it. I think there's nothing wrong to preserve things, put it in museums, so for those that want to see it, they should see it, and it should be cultivated. And that's what I believe. And it's history. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't go turn back time or jump on the DeLorean and change time with Doc and Marty. It's not going to work that way. Okay, well, that's my day. I'm going to go and get some Cinco de Mayo food, Mexican food. So, adios, amigos. And any questions or comments, please make it positive. Anything that's negative is going to be deleted automatic, or the comments are going to be turned off. There's nothing I can do about it. He is an ancestor, and am I proud of what he did? Yes and no. So there's your answer. I'm going to be politically correct. Adios, amigos.